Hi YouTube, welcome back to Wtf Rc Cars. So we've got another interesting servo here sent by one of the channel subscribers, Ed. And this is, I think it's meant to be pronounced somewhere along the lines of Yantrs, but it's a 50 kilogram servo. It's one of the small, shorter servos. So if it is 50 kilogram, that's quite impressive. They're also only around £60, which is pretty good for spec. It's got some interesting specs as well. Basically 6 volt is supposed to be 35 kilograms of torque or 485 ounce-inch, and the speed is 0.10 over 60 degrees. 7.4 volt is 45 kg, 624 ounce-inch of torque and 0.08 over 60 degrees. The 8.4 volt specs are 50 kgs and 694 ounce-inch and 0.07 speed-wise. Operating frequency, which is quite interesting on this, is 50 to 1000 hertz. So not only should it be a very strong and fast servo, also very quick response. Bit more at specs, operating 6 to 8.4 volt. Weight is 73 grams. It's got a 14-bit encoder, so it's a Hall sensor, not a potentiometer. Should make it very accurate. They're available in different specs, so 180, 270 and 360 degree and multi-lap, so it'll just continue turning. Now there's a lot of confusion with people when they order a 360 degree servo and they want to use it as a winch, but it only operates 360 degree. It won't just continually spin. The part number on this is 0750AS-MGX-E. So, let's bring in for a close-up look and see if it's what it's meant to be. So, first off, we need to get it out of its box. And to the best of my knowledge, this was brand new, fully sealed up. As I say, I've had a quick look around, and you're looking around £60 delivered. Now the first thing I can say is what a bling little servo this is. Plenty of chamfered edges, nice choice of design, looks really solid, and it's a really high quality cable on this one. It's one of the sort of softer feeling rubberized cables, quite a good length on that one. So let's have a look, get a rough measurement. So that's about 15. So it's probably just over 30 centimeters. You've got full black cable, but it does have the signal pin sort of designator on it, just a white band. So yeah, really nice servo. Let's have a look what else we get in the packaging. So we do get a extremely high quality servo arm, 7075 25 tooth spline with the pinch bolt design, all metal, all aluminium construction servo horn or servo arm, and that's a very tight fit even without the pinch bolt in, so very nice tolerances on that. You also get 2 pinch bolts, so you get a spare pinch bolt and you get 2 of the actual bolts that fasten this down to the servo itself. And I don't think there's anything else in the packaging. We don't get any stickers or anything or any instructions. It says IP67, and this is the 180 degree version, and it says it's got oblique gearing, which I think is slash cut, not straight cut gearing. We've also got a URL on here, so it's www.yantrs, so YANTRS.cn. If you want to find out more information about it. It does say it's brushless high voltage. Supports SR, SSR, SFR. So it'd be quite interesting to see how we can get this to react with an enhanced receiver and a sort of Noble MB4 or Pro. See if we can get this running at 1000 hertz. So maybe I'll try that before we stick it on the torque meter. So we'll quickly get the Noble Pro fired up. It should work exactly the same with MB4, but I'm going to reset the model memory. And then if we come out of that one, and we go into bind set enhanced, let's get a receiver quickly bound up to this one. Binding successful. So if we're going with steering for this, I believe they are that way round. So it's very quiet. I'm not sure if I've got a little servo arm kicking about. And this is running off of a 2S LiPo pack. So let's have a look. So if we're going servo frequency, steering, let's set it to SR. So we're currently running at 380 Hz. Let's bump it up to 833 and see what difference we get. So we're not getting an awful lot of travel, but it is working. So let's see if we can go further up. So we're getting very little travel one direction and a little bit more in the other direction. So maybe it will swap, but we might need a programmer. It can certainly operate at that frequency, but it may be one of the things that we're going to have to plug a programmer in to get it to work. But it certainly will operate at 833, I think it is. So it'll certainly operate at 833, and it'll also operate at 1000. But I'm thinking we probably need to plug it into a programmer to switch it between these to get it to line up perfect with what our transmitter is going to be doing. But quite interesting. Definitely a high performance servo. If you've seen any of my videos on the Wtf Rc ones, on those you plug them in and you set what mode you're actually running at, so you get a correct centre and a correct amount of travel. But let's get it on the torques meter and see if it lives up to what it should be. Right, so first off we'll have a run at 6 volt. Right, so here we go. It's incredibly quiet. So we've got an average of 37.9 at 6 volt. So let's knock it up a touch. So we'll take it up to 7.2 and clear as test. And we've got an average of 46.3. And as I'm doing this, you can keep an eye on the amp draw so you can see different amp draw at different voltages. So if we now put it up to 8.1 volt, which is 8.2 voltage, it's just whatever it reads, closest this BEC can get to it. And straight away I can tell it's putting a lot of torque through this because it's twisting the actual meter. So we're looking at 52.3 and we're pulling about, peaking at about 7.5 amps at 8.4 volt. 7.2. So we're peaking just over 6 amp. Drop it all the way down to 6 volt. And for this one, probably just over 5. But we're not getting an excess of temperature at all. In fact, this is probably one of the coolest running servos that I've had on the test rig. So let's get it turned off, and just for completeness, let's see if we can have a look inside this servo. Now I'm not sure if these are actually Torx bits. It does look like it. So let me see if I've got an incredibly small Torx driver. So if you're thinking of getting inside one of these things, you're gonna need a T6 to get in them. And I believe, yep, we got a tiny little O-ring. It does have the legend for the actual pin out of the wires. And it's a bit of a curious setup, this one, because usually we've got much longer screws than this that go right through into the top, but on this one, looks like your servo top and bottom are both going to be held on separate. So let's see if we can get it apart. So, very interesting design on this. We've actually got thermal putty, or a thermal pad, to transfer the heat. So really well thought out. And just underneath this I can see the indentation of the brushless controller and the 3 poles running the motor. Does look to have a tiny little O-ring around the outside as well. So yeah, quite an interesting design. Not used to seeing them go as far as putting a thermal pad in. One, it will definitely help cushion the servo, so it's going to help hold the electronics in place, and they do actually make proper contact and proper use of the aluminium casing to dissipate heat, which is quite possibly why this is definitely one of the coolest running servos that I've come across. To say the power that this thing is putting out and how cool it's running, it'd be impressive if it was a standard size servo, but even more so that this is a short servo. So certainly a servo that I'm going to be keeping my eye on this brand, and it is really impressive for the price. I would think if you were looking at any of the other name brands, especially brands that are available inside UK, for this kind of spec servo, I would think you'd be spending over £100. But let's quickly see if we can have a look at the gears. And these hex head screws aren't over tightened either. They just snug down. So if you do strip one of these servos down, I wouldn't go crazy on tightening these back up. They just seem to be finger tight. But the tolerances of this servo, the way the housings and everything fit, I don't think it's designed to be sort of crushed together. It just seems an extremely well built servo. Certainly not a brand I've heard of either. So I'm not sure if these are new to market. They're not too difficult to get apart either. So basically all we need to do is just carefully wiggle the top at servo, because you're going to have the little dowels that hold your gears in here, and I don't want everything falling out. So very difficult to show on the actual camera, but I'm not entirely sure which gears they're talking about, because from where I'm looking I'm only seeing straight cut gears, unless the gears are further in there that I can't see. But they are all metal gears, and it does look very well made. Little rubber O-rings as well, so I should put that back on where it came from. But yeah, really nice metal gears, and it all looks really strong. I'll just pop that back together, and it does look like quite a bit of effort's gone into it to make it waterproof or water resistant, and certainly to keep the electronic board on it cool. But yeah, very impressive little servo. So just to give you a rough idea of sort of what you can expect speed wise, that's at 6 volt, that's 7.4, and 8.4 volt. So yeah, quite an impressive little servo. But let's wrap this one up. So there you have it, the Yantrs, or however you're meant to pronounce it, 50 kg servo. Really impressive specs, really impressive performance, and extremely cool and very quiet as well. So yeah, again, thanks to Ed for sending this one in. And if you like this kind of content, don't forget to like and subscribe. Hit the notification bell, share to friends and family, and thanks again for tuning in to Wtf Rc Cars. I'll catch you guys again in the next one.